just to kind of wrap up the video here, I showed you guys some clips of, you know, the beginning of the day, the preparation, getting down there, getting prepared, that sort of thing. But I just wanted to kind of put it all together for you here at the end of the video, kind of let you guys know a little bit of, you know, differences, what I found throughout the day, what I had to change throughout the day to make my day successful. So to kind of piece it together for you guys now. So basically, we pull up on our first spot. Within probably the first like half hour or so, the boater ends up catching one. And it's like, okay, cool. I really don't, at that time, I don't really have a grasp of what we're fishing and how I should approach it. I didn't have a grasp. I knew what I had tied on would possibly work, but I didn't have a good grasp of what we were fishing and how I should approach it. So I ask questions, right? Like, that's just what I do. Like, I'm going to ask questions so I get a better idea. And the boater I had was a great dude, man. I had a blast fishing with this guy, man. A blast. I ended up having a great day on the water, ended up making some money, having a good time. So I had a blast with this guy, man. Like, I learned a ton. Side imaging, 360, that type of thing, like what you can see and what you can do. I fished with a lot of guys that have had it, but not to the point where they used it this much. And not fishing this much offshore that we did. Like, I very rarely saw a bank. I'm gonna get back to that in a little bit, but very rarely saw a bank. So probably like 80-90% of our day was spent offshore. And again, that's a little bit different for me in a BFL. I did it in the regional tournament. We stayed in like 60, 80, 90, 70, 50 feet all day. I think we might have went to like 25 at some point. I don't think so, but I think maybe. So offshore was the deal that day, and the fish were there. Just tough to get on a bite. Not knowing how to approach them in different light conditions and that type of thing. It was just an interesting day, but I did the best I could. I did weigh in a good fish, and I didn't have too bad of a finish. Out of 200 some odd boats, I still think I came in like 60 or something, so still not bad. But so with all that being said, like I said, the boater in this particular BFL, Shenandoah Kerr, stop number 1. Like I said, I fished. I didn't quite get a grasp on how to approach it, but as we kept doing it and we kept running, we ran a lot. We put that sucker in the wind. Hit one spot, make a few casts, take off. Hit one spot, make a few casts, take off. Hit one spot, take a few casts, make off. Make a few casts, take off. Not take a few casts, make off. That was weird. But that's what we did. And I don't think I ever took my life vest off the whole tournament. And we stayed on some spots for a while. I very rarely take my life vest off at all, especially not in 25, 30 feet of water. Never going to do that. So I just keep it on regardless. But keeping it on was advantageous to me because after a while, we did start pick them up, put them down. And it was good to keep my vest on. I make sure I'm seated before the boater is seated, type of thing. I tried. Unless I was like in the middle of retying and he was like, all right, let's go. Then I'd have to kind of like get my stuff situated, and I would just sit down with my bait and just hold on to it till we got to the next spot. Then I'd retie. But yeah, it was a tough deal. Like I said, about 8:30 or around the first stop, probably by 9 o'clock, the boater had one. 9:30 comes, 10 o'clock comes, 10:30 comes, 11 comes. We still got one. I managed to get one. Now I'm gonna tell you what I got it on. This is a bait I've never caught a fish on in a bass fishing tournament in my entire life of fishing bass fishing tournaments. Never ever in my life. I caught a bait on a jerk bait deep diving, a +2 jerk bait. So I tried my 13 fishing local special. It goes about 6 to 9 feet. We were in about 30. I didn't think that was gonna work. So I reached deep in the box. I only bought one of these with me. I was like, let me bring something that goes really, really deep, jerk bait style. I had a couple of deep diving crankbaits. I tried those, no luck. Drop shot, no luck. Shaky head, no luck. I barely even got to pull out the spinnerbait that I went on. I threw that probably for about 6 minutes. We weren't around that type of stuff. It just wasn't, that wasn't what it was going to be. I threw an Alabama rig. Hate that thing. It's awful. I will say this for the tournament, and I'm very happy about this stat. Like, I try to keep all my stats as far as what I do, what I need to do, what I have. I did not, this entire tournament, I never had one backlash the entire tournament. That tells me that I've been putting in some time with my equipment and I know what's going on. And I had everything, like right before the tournament, everything I tied on, I went out and cast it all to make sure that I had the right for the right. So basically, if anything I did tie on that was different, it was heavier than what I had before. So I had no problem. So I'm very proud of myself in that one stat. I feel like that's a huge thing. the most amount of time you can spend with a bait in the water and not like fixing crap, the best your chances are to get bit in these tournaments. But I did have to resort to a +2 deep diving jerk. So basically that's what I had to resort to, was that, and I ended up getting bit in about 14 feet of water on a suspending jerk bait. It was a phenomenal bite, I'm not gonna lie. It was one of those deals where you guys know I've been talking about jerkbaits forever. If you follow me on Instagram, I've been fishing the mess out of every jerkbait that I have, trying to get the best feeling I can get for a jerkbait in retrieves. I tried every single one of them that I tell y'all about, trying to find the right one to key these fish in, and I finally found it, and I got one. So I finally got one. It was about 11:15. I got one fish. Like I said, the boater had one fish. We pull up to another spot. We're sitting in about 16. I cast up all the way to the bank. 2 cranks of the reel handle on a flat-sided crankbait. Bow, smoked. Another 2 1/4. So I'm like, all right, bet. That was probably within an hour or so of each other. So I got 2. Check-in is 3:45. I got 2. We go to another spot. The boater ends up picking off 1 on that spot. So we both got 2 and 2. We decided to pull the plug on the deep stuff. Temp warms up just a tad. Wind kicks up just a little bit. Decided to start running some shallow stuff. It's so difficult to run the shallow stuff out there though, because the water's not up. The water's like a foot low from what it normally is this time of year, and around this time of year from what I'm hearing. And the shallow stuff, the bushes and stuff you're used to fishing at Kerr, they're just not coming into play, man. They're just not coming into play. It was so weird, man. I've never fished it with that low before. Where stuff I'm so, like, all the good looking stuff that you want to throw at was out the water sitting up on the bank. I'm like, yo, this is... So anyways, with that being said, we end up getting in the shallow. I see a lay down. I pitch my crankbait. End up throwing 13 fish and jabberjaw up around the lay down. Run it. Bow, smack into a log. Let it float up. Start the reel handle again. Smoke. Fish came out and got it again. Another 2 1/4. So by this point, we're at about 1:15, 1:30. I got 3 fish, guys. I'm feeling great. I am feeling absolutely great. We still got about 2 hours left before we got to check in. Fish are starting to bite. I'm like, all right, I might get to 4. I might get to 4. If I get to 4, I can figure out 5. You guys know I say it all the time. If I get to 4, I can figure out how to get to 5. It's no problem. If I land them, that's different, but I can figure out how to get to them if I get to 4. So we end up pulling up on another shallow spot. Boater throws his crankbait out, catches 1, it's a short. I throw my crankbait out, catch 1 off the same spot, it's a short. Dang it, right? Thought for sure that was my deal. Nope. And then we end up pulling up on another spot. Boater hooks 1, gets it coming towards the boat, has it coming up, just pulls off. And we're both like, he never saw it, I never saw it, but he was hooked because he was lifting the rod tip up. Rod tip shot straight back down in the water. So something was on, just never saw it. And I never got another bite for the rest of the day. We jumped between shallow, deep. We probably hit like 30 spots in that last 2 hours. We put it in the wind, man. Like, we were on it. Cast, no bite, go. Cast, no bite, go. Cast, oop, got a bite. Hooked it, go. Got off. Cast, nothing. In the last 20 minutes before we had to go, we pull up on one spot. The boater pulls up, looks at his graph stuff. He's like, he sees something. He's got one, a school, but it went up and it went like right back away. It was really weird. But he ended up casting kind of in the general vicinity, ends up hooking a good one there as well. So he ended up with 3. I ended up with 3. Went to the scales with 6 pounds, 15 ounces. I was like, it's Kerr Lake. It was fishing kind of good, kind of not good. I was like, this is going to be iffy one. But lo and behold, we get to the end of the weigh-in. I end up finishing in 22nd place. They paid down to like 33rd place. So you know what that means. I got a check. Check covered my entry fee, covered my room, lodging, stay, just about covered my gas. Great experience, great opportunity, great time to get down there. And then I'm going to turn around and do it again the very next week. So excited about that. We're going to go right back to Kerr. We're going to cast again. We're going to see if we can get some more fish. Like I said, I ended up catching 1 on a deep diving jerkbait, probably in about 14, 15 feet of water. I ended up catching 1 on a flat-sided crankbait. It was a 7-foot diving crankbait. Then ended up catching 1 on a 3 to 5 foot diving crankbait, and basically all of those ones I just mentioned, though, even though they were on a crankbait, one was in like 2 feet of water, the other one was in like 2 feet of water. Mind you, it was right next to really deep water, so it would be like 2, 3, and then it'd be like 18. So the distance is relative to what all was going on in that area. So like shallow, bam, like drop off like a freaking cliff, so ledge or whatever, something like that. So it's relative, but that's where my 2 out of 3 fish came shallow, 1 came really deep. Something I've never done in a tournament. I never, honestly guys, I really don't catch that many fish in tournaments on baits with treble hooks because I don't want to lose them. But when I'm fishing in the grass on the river, I don't mind. I'm not losing a crankbait in the grass on the river. That's not going to happen. And in this particular place, there's a lot of stumps, but what I've been working on with my crankbaits and my jerkbaits is understanding when I'm bumping into stuff and allowing my bait to float up and then getting back on it real quick. And then I'm okay. Like knowing the difference between bumping a stump and coming through different things, that's what I've been working on. That's the stuff that I've been trying to key in on to make sure that when I do get in these deals, that it's okay. So I had a great time. Great tournament. I love Kerr now. Obviously I loved it before, but basically 3 trips down, 2 checks. I can't complain. The first time I went, I had never even seen the place before. I had no idea what to expect. Their fish were chomping on top water the whole time. This time I come back, poppers and all that. This time I come back and it's a whole different story. So to figure it out, to piece it together, to go from 1 fish to winning to 3 fish, I feel pretty good about it. So can't wait to go again and do it again. So I appreciate you guys and the support. Appreciate you guys watching the channel, all that. Like I said, I'm gonna try to bring you more of these vlogs, these type of things when it comes to my derbies. Just keep you guys up on what I'm doing. But I appreciate each and every one of you. As always, Bass and Furious, I'm out. Peace.